welcome to another painting table video. Here we are getting ready to sand our gaming board that we've been working on now for quite a few months. Put in some hard work. So you see we have a 6x4 piece of wood here that is cleaned up and ready to sand. We started, if you remember, listening to our episode and seeing our pictures, we started with a gaming table that someone had built that was covered with very thick foam. It had a river in the middle made of resin, had numerous hills on it, and it really was sort of unplayable in addition to being not very attractive. So we had to remove all of the foam from it, which was quite the process to get it all off. You can see over here we've stacked up some of those pieces of foam so you could see what they looked like. We kept these just in case, thought these were the large chunks that came off. Maybe we could use them for a terrain project in the future. But basically we removed all the foam and we flattened out the area pretty well. And then we flipped the table over, so this was the bottom of the table that we're looking at, because the side that had already been used when we got this table secondhand is in really rough condition, and this side is in much better condition. It's not completely even. There's some knots in the wood where it dips down, and we're gonna have to fill that in. And the other part that's concerning us right now is over here. The wood seems to be split a little bit, as you can see, but hopefully we'll be able to fill that out without too much trouble. The other side of the table is really we've flattened it out for the most part, but it's pretty rough and unusable. So we're gonna take some time now to sand this and then fill in any gaps that remain, try and make it nice and smooth so we can build up our surface from there. Jen, you want to talk about what you're going to be doing with the sander?
I'm going to be sanding.
Okay.
With the sander.
So where'd you get this sander?
We bought it at a hardware store just for this very purpose, because it's always good to have a palm sander. I recommend DeWalt because I did my research, and this is the one to get. You'll see it has a dust extraction to hopefully minimize the amount of damage we're going to do with the dust in the room. Yeah,
we're expecting quite the cleanup process afterwards, but that's alright. It's all in the name of gaming. How much was the sander, by the way?
It was like $50, right?
Yeah,
like
about $50. Not too bad, because we're hopefully going to be getting some use from it for other projects. And it had discs that you attach, the sanding discs, and they come in different grits. So which one did you put on first?
The medium grit.
The medium first, and then we'll do the fine afterwards. Okay, so let's start sanding.
Okay.
Without mercury.
Yeah, I don't think mercury should be.
Without mercury on the table. Gonna have to move them.
As soon as I can go over here and plug it in, I bet it'll run away.
Well, maybe. Do you want me to film you sanding it too?
Sure. I don't... And we're back to talk a little more about how the progress is going with the table. So, just to have a look at what it looks like right now. Not much different, but we sanded the whole thing, so the grain is much smoother. And over here you'll see, can you turn the label around so we can see it?
Sure.
Thank you. It's seal coat. It's sanding sealer, and you can get it at any hardware store. We happen to have it because of a previous project we were doing. And Greg is going to apply it with the grain, which I believe is this direction. A thin layer with the grain, and this is going to help smooth the work that we've done, fill in any of the little cracks or gaps in the grain, and give a much smoother finish for applying the paint that, our textured paint, so that not holes like this one and just the general surface itself doesn't really show through. So we'll give you a look at the final product when we get finished. Anything to add, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, we went through the process of sanding the table. Didn't take very long. The sander we had has a nice vacuum feature in it, so it sucks up a lot of the dust as you go, which was convenient. We didn't shoot video of that because the sander was really loud.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have made for a very good video. But it was pretty simple to do. All you had to do was hold it down and move it across the surface. And really, when you look at it, you can't tell any difference, but feeling just the roughness of the board before and how smooth it is now, I was really impressed.
Right. So what are we doing right now?
Well, we finished up a couple layers we went through. We did sanded it with the medium and then the fine grit sandpaper, and we applied the sanding sealer in between each time. And now we're just going through and trying to fill in the holes or the cracks, the major cracks that are on the table with the spackle. And so I'm sort of clumping it on, and then we're smoothing it out with the larger spatula or putty knife.
I'm just zeroing in on this little area here so you can see kind of what the cracks look like. And of course, you're going to go with the grain. Yep. You see how, ooh, smooth.
Beautiful.
Yes. So what's our next step after this?
Well, after this, we gotta wait for the putty, the spackle to dry. And then we'll probably have to hit it up with some sandpaper just by hand to make sure it's smooth, and then it's ready to be painted.
Awesome.
So
All right.
we're getting there.
Stay
Closing in.
tuned. So now you will see that the spackle has dried. We've sanded it down smooth to be flush with the table. And now Greg is applying the first coat of the textured paint. I'm going to try to zoom in here so you can really take a look at what this texture looks like. And it's now you can see the name of the paint. It is Valspar Unique Interior Faux Finish Sandstone.
Yeah.
And now you can really look at that grit. It's gritty.
Yep. So this is really easy to paint on. I should probably be using a larger paintbrush or a roller, but we don't feel like it. So this is how we're doing it. Probably going to do 2, maybe 3 coats of it. It's thin enough that it's not going to cause any problems when you're playing any inconvenience where you can't, slide your units while they're on their movement trays. Or some tables even, they have so much grit, we've played on them, where they cause your knuckles to
bleed.
To bleed.
To bleed. True
That's
story.
An interesting experience. But
show you what the filled in holes look like.
Yep. But it's a good texture, and the color it comes in, sandstone is whatever, because you could prime it or you could shade it, depending on your needs. I used this on the display board I made for my dwarfs, and I just, primed it black and painted it up to match my bases.
Yep. So now on to the next step for the table is applying the wash, which is actually wood finish. It's a stain. This color is called Early American. And so although it looks really dark now, once you wipe off the excess, it will have the desired effect of kind of going into the recesses the way you would use like...
Hopefully it'll be nice and shaded.
Right. It'll be shaded like you would do with washes on a model. So we've got to wait 7 to 15 minutes or something like that for it to dry. Wipe it up, and then you'll see what it looks like. Have anything to add, babe?
Nope.
Alright, so stay tuned. So, as you can see, the table is covered with a mix of white glue and water. What proportions would you say you used, Greg?
About 2/3 glue, 1/3 water.
2/3 glue, 1/3 water. We put it in a spray bottle, sprayed it on the table, and it kind of came out in squirts because of the type of squirts. It didn't really like
mist.
Mist. So we spread it around with a paintbrush, And now Greg is shaking our first flock onto the table and just letting it fall where it will to give a very natural appearance. And we'll just try to zoom in on this so you can...
You think that's enough of this?
Keep in mind a lot of it will end up falling off. I don't think you can do too much, really. There, looks nice.
Oh, that does look really nice.
Yeah, so we're using...
This dropping it from the height really gives it a much more natural effect than if you are placing it yourself.
Okay, and then what other kind of flock are you going to be using?
Okay, so this is Woodland Scenic's Blended Turf Earth Blend. So it's got a couple different colors in it, which is why I wanted this blended one. It's got like some browns, greens, and reds.
Yep, you can kind of see that in this.
And then the other color we're going to use to hopefully make a nice contrast is a Static Grass Dark Green flock. Also from Woodland Scenic. So same deal, just got to pop open the top here, sealed for freshness.
And where would you find these Woodland Scenic products?
Online. Or at a hobby store. We got it from our local hobby store that also sells like stuff for model railroaders, trains, and such, and that's...
And time and again, that's the best place to get stuff for your terrain.
Yep. So this one is, because it's thicker, it has a much harder time coming out.
Yep.
I feel like I'm seasoning my my dinner here.
Seasoning it to perfection, so you can see here how the two colors are blended together.
Yep.
Excellent, and we'll give you a look at the finished product as well when it dries.